Hey guys, Scott here, Pine Barren Craftsman. I took a little bit off the top, man. That's what you get, man. Homeschool haircut here, service. I look like I'm from the 1940s. Got your paperboy hat here. So, I want to talk a little bit about fears and phobias and some of the things over my life that helped me face. It's almost like the stagnation of being set in your ways. Like, I'm good with this fear that I have, and I'm not going to address it. That's just how I am. And continuing on with some of the other videos I've posted about self-reflection and working on myself and I tend to nitpick myself tremendously. I don't know if you guys get that flavor from these videos, but so like let's say you have a fear. Let's say everybody's got something that's a bugaboo, something that's under the skin that just freaks them out. It could be something small like fear of insects, bugs, whatever. It could be something big like heights, or something that could really hinder your ability to do things in society, whether it be, fear of crowds or getting on a plane. So all I could really do is talk about my own life experiences and how I've faced some of this stuff. Just recently, I came across some videos and pictures of me standing on top of a water tower. And when I first started my job at the water company, I never thought for a minute that I'd have to climb up on a tower. But as being an instrumentation controls technician, you have to be able to hook up and take down the antennas, their communication antennas that talk across town. And there's also lights that sometimes you got to replace bulbs up there. I'll tell you the story. So there was a tank. It was called a ground tank, but it was not low. It was probably, I want to say, 100 feet up, maybe more. And the tanks are welded. They're welded together on site. So somebody's welds are the ones that are being tested. And on the outside of this tank, there's a ladder that goes straight up. So normally, like you're leaning on a house, you have a ladder that's leaning. It's a little easier to get up. Going straight up a metal rung ladder, you're knuckling it. You're like, So the guy goes, you got to go up, you got to change the bulb, and you got to do this. You got to zip tie the cable all the way up. And I probably made it about, I don't know, maybe like 10 foot up, maybe. And I was fatigued because I was holding the bar so tight. And here I am trying to zip tie the wire that's hanging. It's all flapping in the wind and it's making noise and everybody's complaining. Someone's got to make this climb and zip tie as they go. There's a thing called a squirrel cage. It's like a cage that's around it. It's all normally welded to the tank. So the rungs are welded to the tank, the bars, everything. And all I was doing was like thinking about everybody's weld, like the guy that welded this bar or girl, like, is this thing going to hold me? Is this one going to let go? And I'm like, I want to go back. You get this this vortex. The squirrel cage that's around you is kind of like a false sense of security because, you're encapsulated in something, so you feel like you can kind of hold on to something if you're going to fall off. Now, mind you, I had a harness on and a cable follower, so really I shouldn't have been able to deal with it, but I never got challenged in that way. So I had a fear of heights that were higher than a typical painter's ladder, or I've been on roofs. I've been on a second story roof, which was way more unsafe than climbing up this tank with the fall protection on. But when you look up, you're looking up at the next rung and you see all the way up where you got to go, and you see like birds soaring up there in clouds. You're like, wow, man, I'm going up. So that was one of my fears that I faced. I didn't get to the top of that tank. It was a little bit outside my reach, but I did go up on a 30 and a 40-foot tank, and I was pretty comfortable up there after a while, and that was fine. It was actually really relaxing and peaceful being up a little bit higher than everything. You see like the tops of the trees, you can see out. And I can see like the appeal, especially if you're going to get paid well for that type of a job. It's an inner struggle, right, for me to do that job. But if I challenged and faced that fear, I could have this really cool, kind of a cushy perk type of a job, like, wow, I'm the guy that's going to be up on the tank. Another fear that I had to deal with was flying. For some reason, I never was introduced to flying as a young kid or at a very young age. Some kids just get on planes and they get over it quickly. And it wasn't so much of the plane, but it was being stuck, in a plane with other people that there's no chance you're going to get out. That bothers me. Like, give me a parachute. Do you mean to tell me we could put people on the moon and Mars, but you can't have this passenger plane jettison the people to safety? Like, shoot them all out, if the thing's going down. But I think there's some stuff in the works where they're talking about detachable passenger compartments that will ascend back to Earth if something should happen. Like, it'll just detach and you'll be in there, pressurized. I know you can't get shot out into space without any air up top of the stratosphere. But that was a big fear, and I addressed it. I got on a plane and I flew to the New Orleans International Airport, whatever it's called. I flew to New Orleans a couple days before Christmas back in, 2013, 14, 13, probably 13. My father-in-law's birthday, a couple days before Christmas, man. It's like we're going to a tropical climate. Like, got me all out of the Christmas spirit. We're on the plane. I'm scared out of my mind. But I did it for my wife. She asked me to do it. She goes, we're going to get married. I want you to do this. I want you to face your fears. I'm like, it's my fear, man. Let me face it on my own terms. I'm like, all upset. But at the end of the day, I did it. There was one event that, I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but basically my wife wanted me to get on this helicopter trip, and they paid for the ticket. And I was like, there's no way I'm getting on this helicopter and go flying up in New York City. I just wasn't having it. It didn't feel right. I wasn't asked. The tickets were purchased, and it was like, you got to do it, forced, like, immediately. And I'm not that kind of guy. Like, you got to give me the respect and the heads up and let me address it. And I probably would have did it if they gave me this notice. And I would, but like, to be forced to deal with my fears now on somebody else's terms was hard. And it was an awesome gift. It was an awesome thought. It would have been a memory that would last a lifetime. But I was petrified of this. Like, this is something that, like, it wasn't going to be easy. And some people don't deal with fear like that. Some people don't have those fears, So it's hard to address them. So that's kind of what this video is about. How do you guys deal with your fear? What's a red line? Something that you wouldn't cross for anybody, no matter what? There's none. Like, now, pretty much that's it. I've dealt with that. I mean, skydiving, I don't see a point in it. It's kind of reckless. I cherish my life a lot, so I feel like it's reckless. I know it's safe, but it feels reckless. It feels like you're throwing it all out. And I find it to be more valuable for me to do something so risky with my life. But at the same time, I'll floor that truck, go down the street, and anybody could walk, any moose or any tree could fall down, or the car could explode. So, like, I'm reckless in other ways, I guess. Ways that I understand, or maybe I'm more accustomed to. So, what do you guys do to address these fears? Is it fear of, trying new foods? People have fear of fire. I think there's people in my family that have fear of fire. Deathly afraid of it if it's going to happen in the house. At the end of the day, we need to use the tools that we have at our disposal in our minds to come after and come above or come around these issues. And what I've always done is, it's like, okay, I'm scared, but just do it, right? And that's how I got through the other tank climbs. Just one rung after the next. I'm not thinking. I'm not thinking about anything but climbing, and it's easier. Just focus on the mission, one hand over the next. And realize that, stop gripping the rung so tight. You're not going to get ripped off. This is not, the movie Twister, and we're going to get sucked up into the tornado. Just let it go. Basically, let it go. Some people put it on a higher power, give it up to a god or whatever. The natural world, just let it go. Now, I can honestly say now I have a healthy fear of being lost in these woods up here because I understand how big it is, and I am so green and naive, and you know, but it's not going to hinder me from doing it. I'm going to do it. But the fear is driving more responsibility and more, research. Have a map, have a compass, understand, where I'm at. I'm starting to understand some of the terrain, so I know what I'm looking at. So there's a fear of that. Having, a firearm with you in the woods while you're hunting is a lot better than being out there with nothing. And if you come across an angry moose, at least you'd like to be able to hide from it or maybe fire a sound. I don't think it would scare a moose, but at least you could protect yourself in some way. A bear with sows, or sow with cubs. There's always that feeling, I guess, it's right with you. What are you doing? Like the boating thing. Boating was brand new to me. And I never had a problem being on a boat, but when I was in charge of the boat and in charge of everybody's safety, the anxiety came up. It wasn't so much a fear, but it was definitely anxiety. And I'm able to manage that. Just focus on the job and do everything very methodical and smart. I find it similar to like getting a new car project or a new car. Like a lot of times back in the day, the excitement from getting the new car, especially if it was a really nice car, you wind up fumbling and dropping something and chip the paint, or you get so excited and you're looking at it and you're like, oh, what's this? And break that, You got to ease down and let those jitters burn off, and then you get back to your, this is just something that I'm trying to get out there for some people. To admit fear helps others admit their fear, and then they could start to address it. It's not like, this big thing that people want to address, like let's say it's an addiction. People want to get rid of that and they have to focus and find ways to get rid of an addiction. People prey on it, whatever, or do other things. So yeah, there's a little bit of a fear about being lost in the woods. I want to trust the people I'm with. I want to understand the terrain, the trail, and my equipment. I have a nice newer 4-wheeler. So, some of these areas out here you break down and you're without cell phone. So now you're on others' time. Like someone else is going to come across you to save you. That's pretty much it. You're on your own, or somebody else is like our society. It's one of those things like we worry about, like who's going to take care of us in a crisis. It's the people around us. You break down on the side of the road. I helped a lady that got stuck in the snow the other day. We dug her out and pushed her out, and there was a couple people there, so it was easy work. But without that, it's cold. If nobody shows up and the car runs out of gas, you're done. It's hypothermia, or some of these roads are heavily trafficked, so that's fine. But in the woods, in the like 50 to 100 miles into the woods, man, I don't know if you're going to see anybody for a couple of days in the summer. Maybe you see some logging trucks. So let me know what your fears are. I don't know. Just trying to generate some thought to the channel and promote being honest with ourselves. And are we going to address them? What are we going to do? Are we going to live like that? Are we good like that for the rest of our lives? I'm never going to mess with spiders. Like fear factor, like do people challenge themselves? Are we going to just let it go and say, this is who I am? Or are we going to constantly fight to better ourselves until we die? That's the plan, I think, I want to stick with. I feel better about life. Comes along with diet. I want to talk about this. I'm about to get off, but I want to touch on this. And I don't want to write it. I have another video. There's some people in my life that I know that are perfectly fine with having an unhealthy lifestyle, right? Physically going to hurt them. And a lot of times, if they're older in age, they'll say things like, well, I'm old as it is. I don't care. This is where I'm at. But there's a quality of life till you die that you can enjoy. You can be healthy from now until you're dead. And that's what I want to promote. Just one last thought was try to promote good health, even in the darkest times and even later in life. It's easy for me to say I'm in the middle of my life. I have time ahead of me. on statistics, right? But I could die tomorrow. I could be fat, overweight, out of shape, let my hair grow real ugly. But why not live the best quality life I can every day up until the point where you are going to die? Because then you're going to be dead anyway, wherever you go, whatever you're doing. So the coherency, the feeling, the energy that I have, the positive vibes and aura that I have around me now, my family, I'm going to focus on that for the rest of my life. I have to, because I was in that place through COVID and I never got out of it until physically just now, this past couple of months. I feel great. And I'm not bragging. I'm trying to be so positive that it stimulates one person to do what I'm doing. Just try, push yourself. I know it's hard work, full day, come home, work out. It's hard to eat a smaller and smaller portion, which is what I've done. I've reduced my serving sizes to mimic what the serving sizes are on the back of the boxes. So 8 chips instead of a bag of potato chips, you know, or 3 chicken nuggets out of the bag instead of 10, you know, frozen nuggets. And that's the only thing I've really done. So thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe. I'm going to keep posting these videos. I still see people watching them, and I appreciate your time. I appreciate if you get here to 15, 16 minutes and you get something out of this video. It's going to keep going. Thanks for watching.